Over the last decade, we've seen a number of female come and go in pro wrestling. Some were around for a short time, some lasted a while, some made an impact on the business, and some helped change the way that people look at women's wrestling. Just like Trish Stratus, Lita, Beth Phoenix, and others did in the early 2000s, many have helped usher in what we now call the woman's evolution. Before and going into this last decade, many people just saw women's matches as mud matches, pillow fights, bra and panties matches, and basically cat fights. Now, in 2019 and going into this next decade, women's wrestling is looked at as much more than that. Now, it is looked at as it always should have been looked at. Women now get to go out there and put on great matches that sometimes rival what the men are doing. Women even get to main event on television, pay-per-view, and more specifically this past year at WrestleMania. Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. So we asked you guys to give us your suggestions on who you thought were the best female wrestlers over the last decade. We took your top 5 suggestions, we had you rank those 5, and now here they are. Starting with number 5, it's Paige with 6% of the votes. Paige may have the second most experience of all the women on this list, and because of that, it may be why her career was cut short. As a young girl in England, Paige grew up in a family of wrestlers but never actually wanted to be a wrestler herself. That was until her father was a girl short for a show he was putting on and put Paige in the ring. From then on, it was all she ever wanted to do. Paige would wrestle around the world for about 6 years before catching the eye of the WWE. In 2011, Paige signed with the WWE and debuted in January of 2012. It was not long before she was the top woman in WWE's developmental brand, NXT. Ultimately, Paige would go on to become the first ever NXT Women's Champion. She did so in a match against Emma, where some say that match may have kicked off the women's evolution. But at the time, many did not see the match. The two women were allowed to go out there and have the type of match that they wanted to have and were given the time to do so. They didn't have to have the normal 30 to 90 second matches that we were all used to seeing on Raw and SmackDown. From there, WWE was all in with Paige, even having her win the WWE Divas Championship on her first night on the main roster, defeating AJ Lee. Paige would go on to have a great feud with Lee over the championship. Some say they stepped out of the shadows and showed everyone what women can do when given the ball. Over the next few years, Paige would go on to become a 2-time Divas Champion, with Rolling Stone even naming her the best female wrestler in 2014. Unfortunately, in 2016, that is when it all went wrong for Paige. On August 3, 2016, her mother took to Twitter to reveal that she was out of action dealing with an injury. A few months later, Paige ended up undergoing neck surgery. It was said, though, that she was not having career-ending neck surgery. It took about a year before Paige was able to return to the ring, but that came with a warning that one wrong bump could cause her to suffer another injury. Only a month after returning, Paige was in a multi-woman tag team match at a live event where she was kicked in the back of the head by Sasha Banks and went down to the mat hurt. Paige says that she does not blame Banks for injuring her, but Paige has not worked a match ever since. Since the last injury in December 2017, we have seen Paige still remain with the WWE and absolutely kill it as the general manager of SmackDown. WWE briefly had her manage the Kabuki Warriors, and now she is a regular on Fox's weekly recap show, WWE Backstage. Paige and her story had such an impact in pro wrestling that The Rock actually created a movie about Paige, her family, and her going from wrestling in England all the way to making it to the WWE and winning the Divas Championship from AJ Lee. If you haven't seen the movie, it's called Fighting With My Family, and it's absolutely great. Now, even though Paige's career was cut short due to injury at just the age of 24, like I said, Paige's impact on the business will be felt for many years to come, as she was somebody that was able to go out there in the ring. Whether it was with another seasoned vet or a newcomer, she was able to go out there and pull the best possible match out of that opponent as possible. Asuka, or to many who knew her before WWE, Kana, is considered not just one of the best female pro wrestlers in the world, but one of the overall best pro wrestlers of the last decade. Whether it was in Japan or in America, Asuka has been able to put on some of the best matches you may ever see. Over the last decade, Asuka was considered one of the best female pro wrestlers in Japan and abroad, working for Smash and Wrestling New Classic in Japan, as well as Chikara and Shimmer in the United States. With the holidays rolling around, we want to make sure as many children as possible do not go without under their tree this Christmas morning. We here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited are partnering with local organizations that help less fortunate and needy families in what we call Operation Santa Drop. Our goal is to raise as much money as possible to buy toys, clothes, stuffed animals, and more to bring to those families in need so at least one less child goes without this Christmas. If you would like to donate, you can do so at the link in the description below or by going to bit.ly/OpSantaDrop to help a child of this holiday season. Thank you in advance, and let's make this Christmas better for those in need. No child should think Santa didn't come.